Let's get started with our first news. UFC CEO Dana White has once again slammed Morab and his words are as harsh as ever. Dana White, known for speaking his mind without holding back, has expressed serious frustration with Morab's recent actions. Previously, Dana criticized Morab for something that many would consider a reckless and unwise decision, removing his own stitches just days before a fight. In fact, Dana didn't hold back, even calling Morab the dumbest fighter ever for that move. Such a strong statement from the UFC boss highlights just how concerned he is about fighter safety and professionalism inside the sport. Now, as Morab prepares for his UFC 316 rematch against Shawn Ali, tensions are running even higher. Morab recently shared several photos from a sparring session showing that he's pushing hard to prepare for the big fight, but in one particular photo, Morab is seen with a fresh cut right under his eye, a visible reminder of the risks he's taking in his training. Dana White didn't waste any time in resharing this image, and he captioned it bluntly, saying, "This guy just never learns." That simple caption reveals a deep frustration from Dana. It's clear he expects fighters to take better care of themselves and their careers. Dana White's frustration is more than understandable. As the CEO of the UFC, he's responsible for the well-being of the fighters and the integrity of the sport. Removing your own stitches is not just a careless decision. It's a serious risk that could lead to infection, delayed healing, or worse injuries. Fighters putting their health on the line is part of the game, but taking unnecessary risks like this crosses a line. Dana's expectation is for fighters to approach their careers with professionalism, respect, and caution. Morab's rebellious move shows a fighter who is determined and willed to push through pain and obstacles, but Dana sees it as something more: stupid and careless. This ongoing tension between Dana White and Morab adds an extra layer of intrigue and anticipation to their upcoming rematch. Fans are wondering, will Morab's stubbornness and refusal to back down work in his favor? Or will these risky decisions ultimately cost him in the octagon? It's a battle not just between two fighters, but also a clash between Dana White's call for professionalism and Morab's relentless, almost reckless fighting spirit. One thing is clear, Morab is not your typical fighter. He's tough, gritty, and unafraid to take risks. But the question remains, can that toughness be balanced with the kind of smart decision-making that Dana White expects from the top athletes in the UFC? As fight night approaches, all eyes will be on Morab to see if he can rise above the criticism and prove that his approach, no matter how unorthodox, can lead to victory. In the end, this story isn't just about one fighter or one fight. It's a reminder of the fine line MMA fighters walk every day, the balance between pushing their limits and protecting their future. Dana White's harsh words may sting, but they reflect a bigger truth about what it takes to survive and succeed at the highest level of this brutal sport. The UFC 316 rematch promises to be a defining moment for Morab, and we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Moving on to our second news story, former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whittaker has made a bold prediction about the highly anticipated super fight between Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. Better known as JDM Whittaker, known for his sharp fight IQ and no-nonsense analysis, recently shared his honest take on this matchup during an interview with Submission Radio. His insights provide a fascinating perspective on what to expect when these two elite fighters finally meet inside the octagon. Whittaker began by addressing one of the biggest uncertainties surrounding the fight: how Makhachev will perform moving up a weight class. He admitted, "It's hard to get an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, especially not knowing how Islam will look moving up a weight class. That's always the question. Now, when fighters move up or down, there are so many unknowns involved. Indeed, moving up in weight can affect a fighter's speed, power, and endurance, making predictions difficult." But Whittaker is confident that Islam's skill set will carry over. He said, "But saying that, I think Islam can do everything that Balo does, but way better. Way better." Whittaker's comparison of Makhachev to Balo, presumably Bilal Muhammad, who previously fought Jack Della Maddalena, highlights the respect he has for Makhachev's well-rounded game. Islam's elite grappling, pressure control, and tactical approach are world-class. But Whittaker doesn't underestimate JDM either. He continued, "I thought Jack handled that fight well, but it was still a fight. I don't think it'll be easy for Jack, but I believe in him. He's got that X factor, that hunger, and the ticker. Just like Balo and Burns before him, Jack has that fire." This statement from Whitaker reveals his belief that Jack Della Maddalena is more than just a promising striker. He acknowledges the Australian's wrestling skills and, importantly, his mental toughness and heart, qualities that have defined many champions before. Whitaker's emphasis on the X factor and hunger points to Jack's relentless drive and determination, which could be crucial against a grappling powerhouse like Makhachev. This matchup promises to be one of the most compelling tactical battles in recent UFC history. Islam's elite grappling ability is widely recognized as one of the best in the lightweight division, and his control on the ground is often a fight-ending factor. But Jack Della Maddalena's pressure-striking, underrated composure under pressure, and wrestling defense might be the perfect counterbalance. Whitaker's insights shine a light on how this fight could unfold. A complex chess match where styles clash and strategies will be tested. In summary, Robert Whitaker's prediction isn't just a simple pick. It's a nuanced analysis that adds more excitement and anticipation to the upcoming fight. Will Islam Makhachev's superior wrestling and technical prowess be too much for JDM? Or will Jack's fire, pressure, and X factor create the upset of the year? The stakes couldn't be higher, and fans worldwide are waiting eagerly for this showdown. Next up, let's dive into a story that's been swirling around the UFC world for months. Jon Jones is reportedly using the tactic of mentally exhausting Tom Aspenol as part of his fight strategy. While many fans and commentators have labeled Jon's ongoing delay in signing a contract to face Aspenol as ducking and essentially avoiding the fight, one of Jon's former opponents has shared a very different and quite insightful perspective on the matter. Jon Jones, often regarded as one of the greatest fighters in MMA history, has kept fans and pundits on edge with his prolonged hesitation to officially accept the bout against Tom Aspenol. The anticipation has only grown more intense because Jones himself fueled speculation last year by suggesting he might take the fight, but only if the UFC offered him a massive payday. However, despite all the buzz and negotiations, nothing official has come to pass, leaving many to question Jon's true intentions. The common narrative among fans is that Jon Jones might be worried about Aspenol, a rapidly rising star known for his powerful striking and solid ground game, and the possibility that Aspenol could hand him a significant defeat, maybe even the first one in his career that truly challenges his dominance. But Anthony Smith, who once faced Jon Jones himself, recently offered a very different take during an appearance on ESPN. Smith described Jon Jones as a master manipulator, someone who has been running mind games for years against the best fighters in the world. He acknowledged Tom Aspenol's fighter mindset and determination, but pointed out a critical psychological truth about negotiations. The person who cares the least in every negotiation wins. Smith believes Jon Jones doesn't care what Aspenol wants. In fact, he aims to do the complete opposite of Aspenol's expectations. According to Smith, Jon is deliberately trying to wear Aspenol down mentally, making him mentally exhausted before the fight even happens. Smith added, "It's one of the most exhausting things I've ever had to deal with, and I've got to respect it. Jon is a master at emotionally and mentally exhausting people, and you can see it happening to Tom Aspenol already." This comment highlights how much Jon's mental tactics play a role in his strategy. Not just physical dominance inside the octagon, but psychological warfare outside it. This viewpoint sparked a wave of reactions online. Some fans criticized Smith's analysis, arguing that the real source of Aspenol's frustration is the UFC and Dana White, whose management style and negotiation delays have arguably held Aspenol back. Critics argued that if the UFC operated fairly, Aspenol might already be undisputed champion, and Jones might have even been stripped of his title by now. Others debated whether Jon's delay is a stroke of genius psychological strategy or just plain old ducking from a tough opponent. Is this all part of a grand Jones master plan to mentally drain Aspenol before the fight? Or is Jon simply avoiding a dangerous fight that could blemish his legacy? Only time will tell. One thing is crystal clear. When it comes to playing mind games in MMA, Jon Jones is among the best in the history of the sport. His ability to get into opponents' heads and control narratives has become as much a part of his legacy as his unparalleled skills inside the cage. Now, moving on to Drius du Plessis, and a burning question fans are asking: does he really have only one way to beat Kamzat Chimaev? Their fight, set for August 16th at UFC 319, has generated a lot of excitement because both bring unique skills and strong records to the octagon. To get a clearer idea of what to expect, we turn to someone who knows both fighters well, Shawn Strickland. He has fought Drius twice and sparred extensively with Kamzat, giving him valuable insight into this matchup. Strickland's opinion carries weight in the MMA world. When asked about the fight, he didn't hold back. According to him, du Plessis absolutely can hand Kamzat his first professional loss. But there's a big if. It all depends on whether Drius can execute one crucial strategy: counter wrestling. In an interview with Helen Ye, Strickland explained that while Drius has the skills and striking power to challenge Kamzat, the deciding factor will be whether he can neutralize or counter Kamzat's dominant wrestling and grappling. Strickland made it clear how tough Kamzat's wrestling is. "I've been training with these guys for years. I usually could counter wrestle and grapple Kamzat, but I don't know if Drius will be able to do that." Known for his aggressive top game and relentless pressure, Kamzat controls many opponents on the ground. That's why Strickland insists that if du Plessis can counter this aspect of Kamzat's game, he can win decisively. If Drius can counter wrestle Kamzat, I think he wins hands down. I sparred with Kamzat, and based on that experience, I think Drius wins. But it's going to come down to whether Drius can stop or counter Kamzat's top game. It's not hard if you can do it. This shows that while Drius' striking and toughness are well known, his ability to handle Kamzat's wrestling will be the true test. If the fight stays standing, or if Drius quickly recovers from takedowns, his chances increase greatly. Wrestling and grappling are Kamzat's bread and butter, and many have struggled with his ground control. Meanwhile, Drius' striking is sharp, aggressive, and precise. His toughness and resilience could frustrate Kamzat and prevent him from settling into his wrestling rhythm. For Drius, winning likely involves a mix of smart striking and strong wrestling defense or counter wrestling. Ultimately, this fight will be a compelling test of wrestling, striking, and heart. Will Drius counter Kamzat's pressure, or will Kamzat's grappling dominance prevail? Fans worldwide will be watching on August 16th to see who comes out on top in one of the year's most anticipated fights. What's your take? Who do you think will win? Next up, Alex Pereira finds himself in the spotlight again, but this time, it's about his future in the UFC. Recently, fans and insiders alike have been buzzing with speculation after a surprising post appeared on Alex's social media. In the post, Pereira hinted at thoughts of retirement and openly expressed frustration with the UFC. The message quickly caught attention because it seemed so out of character for the rising star. However, within hours, the post was deleted, and Alex claimed that his account had been hacked. This explanation, though, hasn't convinced everyone. Many MMA insiders and fans are skeptical and suspect that there might be more to the story than a simple hacking incident. The timing of the post has led to theories that it was actually a response to the ongoing negotiations surrounding his anticipated rematch against Magomed Ankalaev. Rumors have circulated that the UFC might be pushing Alex to take the fight sooner than he feels comfortable with, creating tension between the fighter and the promotion. Adding more depth to the situation, MMA veteran and analyst Josh Thompson shared his thoughts on a recent episode of the popular MMA podcast, Weighing In. Thompson offered some blunt and sobering advice, not just for Alex, but for all UFC fighters navigating the complex and often unforgiving world of MMA. According to Thompson, the landscape for fighters today is tougher than ever. He explained, "I've had conversations with many fighters' managers. They're texting me saying, dude, everybody's indispensable now. No one is safe. Conor's not safe. Alex is not safe. It doesn't matter who you are. The sport is bigger than any athlete." Thompson went on to emphasize a harsh reality. Despite their fame and skill, UFC fighters have very limited options outside of the promotion when it comes to making top-tier money. If you're a fighter, you do not have anywhere else to go that will pay you the same amount of money, he stated bluntly. This means that no matter how big a star a fighter becomes, their leverage is limited and the UFC ultimately holds the power. The message from Thompson highlights just how precarious the position of fighters like Alex Pereira can be. While fans often see only the bright lights and the glory, behind the scenes, athletes are navigating tough negotiations, management struggles, and the constant pressure to perform, all while dealing with the fact that the promotion can and will move on without them if things don't align. Alex's recent social media incident could be seen as a symptom of that pressure. Was his account really hacked, or was that an attempt to cover deeper frustrations and disagreements with the UFC's demands? Regardless, this episode underscores the difficult balancing balancing act fighters face as they try to build their legacies while staying in the promotion's good graces. With Pereira's situation still unfolding, many fans are left wondering what the future holds for this talented fighter. Will he continue to rise within the UFC ranks, or will the mounting pressures push him towards stepping away from the sport? Only time will tell. What do you think? Was the hacking claim genuine, or a sign of growing tension behind the scenes? Moving on to Islam Makhachev's coach breaking down the upcoming fight against Jack Della Maddalena. Islam's head coach Javier Mendez has made it clear they are not taking Jack lightly. With the welterweight showdown looming, the camp is preparing for a full 5-round war. They are not banking on an early finish or underestimating Jack's boxing pedigree. This isn't a short notice warm-up, it's all hands on deck in Dagestan. The heat around this fight intensified when Ilia Topuria moved up and called Islam a coward for running away from the challenge. Ilia wanted that legacy fight, but Islam's focus is on gold at 170 pounds. Jack Della Maddalena isn't a typical step-up. He's a pressure-heavy striker with precise hands and underrated composure. But the reality is, Jack has never faced someone with Islam's suffocating wrestling, timing, and fight IQ. Islam's ability to nullify chaos with pure control is what makes this matchup so interesting. If Islam wins, everything will be in play. A move down to lightweight to silence Ilia once and for all could be next. Possibly a dominant win could set up massive fights at 170, maybe against Shavkat Rakhmonov. Imagine Islam versus Shavkat. What a fight that would be. Javier Mendez said, "I'm always the same. I never change. I'm ready for a 5-round war." The reason being, if I go out thinking he's going to submit him or dominate him, but then the fight happens and there's no submission or domination, my train of thought changes. I get disengaged from the fight, and that's dangerous. I can't afford that. He added, "It's like driving on a freeway. If you lose track and look behind and then look ahead suddenly, you wreck because you weren't paying attention. I need to be engaged at all times and focus on what's happening right in front of me. If I think we should have finished in the second round but didn't, my mindset shifts and I lose focus, so I stay engaged the whole time." This mindset of staying mentally sharp and present is crucial for Islam's camp as they prepare for one of the biggest fights of his career. This isn't just a fight, and it's a crossroads for Islam's legacy.